housemates.
We in the house.
Guys, welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back.
I'm Tumi.
And I'm Sandiso.
And this is the Ngwenyas house.
Ngwenyas house.
If it's your first time here,
you're not a housemate yet.
To become a housemate, all you need to do is
click subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
Whoa. Actually, we don't go in like this on the podcast because
this
some
is
people,
living.
Yeah, this is actually living. Welcome to another episode of Living. It's the 14th of March today. And it's the first time in 2023 we're actually recording a podcast. And the last time we recorded a podcast was it in October?
I think the last time we recorded was, you guys go back and see. It was in October. So it's actually been a long while since we recorded.
Yeah, it's been a minute. That's why we even forgot that we don't say, But anyway, if you're watching us from YouTube and it's your first time here, and the subscribe button is what? Red.
Red.
The subscribe button is red. You're not a housemate yet. To become a housemate, all you need to do is click subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
And the all options.
So you don't miss a notification every time we post.
Dango. And if you're listening to us from Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please just follow our page there so that you don't miss when we actually do this podcast. So we're going to be doing this podcast once a month. Then every other week we're going to be on YouTube. So if you're on Spotify and listening to us there, or on Apple and listening to us there, and you want to see more of us, when you're done listening to this episode or any other episode, head over to YouTube and just check out our other content.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today then?
So today we're going to be basically covering the nitty-gritties that go into wedding planning, our experience, what we actually experienced, what we thought it would be and what it actually was, and just giving advice because from my side I will say, since we posted the wedding video, I've gotten texts or Instagrams or whatever from a lot of people that are just excited by the idea. But there was someone that reached out specifically to me on Instagram, just saying, just asking what actually goes into the wedding planning, like what can they expect in terms of costs and so forth, because they're also looking into doing a wedding. I don't know if they're engaged or whatever or what, but I know there was an inquiry like that. And I know like weddings, it turned out so beautifully. Everything went so well. But before that, there was the planning and the going towards the wedding. So yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, and also if you watched the wedding vlog, not the full wedding, the wedding vlog, you'll know that we weren't actually planning to even have a wedding. It was meant to literally be umhlambi. So yeah. Like that's when Tumi's family comes to my family and they give us gifts, and it's the official welcoming of her family to our home and things like that.
Yeah, I think in Sotho they call it mahlabiso, so it's the same as mhlambiso in Swaziland, but in Zulu it's known as umembeso.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think because like there's a lot of confusion every time I said umhlambiso, and it's like in Zulu I think it's called umembeso. I might be mistaken, so you can correct me
in the comment section.
Basically,
just let
it
us
was
know.
The completion of our lobola process. The reason why, obviously some of you didn't watch the previous video, so for context, Sandiso lobola'd in 2018, December 2018, and there's two processes in African culture or our cultures. It's so after he lobolas, to complete it, my family then has to go and gift the Sandiso's, the groom's family, like Sandiso's family, with gifts. That's blankets and obviously like the whole taking me there as umakotiwa Swaziland, wherever. So that's what was supposed to happen. It was just delayed by
because of COVID.
2.5 years because of COVID. But another thing is that it was really a merging of two cultures. Sotho and Sandiso is Swazi from Swaziland. He's Swazi, not Swati. Swati is the language, but he's Swazi from Swaziland, and I'm Sotho from Kwakwa. And there are specific traditions that go into the like traditional weddings in Sotho culture or in Swazi culture. Both our families are not like deeply traditional, but there are traditions that were followed. On our lobola negotiations, the one that was very specific that was a culture shock was that in Swazi culture, the women are inside the negotiations and the groom himself is inside the negotiations, whereas in Sotho culture it's not the case. So that didn't happen. And then on our wedding, that would be like the final day, but we spoke about it in the actual wedding vlog that I had to be wearing a blanket, and there was just this like pressure to be like wearing dresses. Guys, I have so many dresses, and it was just so crazy. But everybody, it was just like everybody was trying to pull from what they know, what they don't know, to bring this thing together. And it was like there was no specific we were not given, it's like there was no specific like this is what's supposed to happen and this is what's gonna happen. It was just kind of like we need to gift, then okay, there's this, because there was the part of the planning where now my mom, who was a champ through all of this, she's the one that actually put together and bought all of the gifts. So like there was a list, so now there's like degrees of people like in terms of that, whereas how we bought the blankets was just like there's 37 blankets that need to be put together and we need to get like, you know, it was just kind of like,
and the list also kept on changing because remember this list was made like was it 2019?
Yeah, the list was made in 2019. Going back to the actual planning, when did it actually like hit us that okay, cool, we have a wedding, but actually like what's happening?
Yeah, I think for me, as soon as we were like, okay, let's actually make it a wedding, for me it hit me that we're going to have a wedding. But my problem was I didn't know if like it's a wedding, what extra things need to happen. Because even coming to the decision of like, okay, let's make it a wedding, it was like, okay, we're already doing decor anyway because we're already doing.
No, we were not.
We were, for my family was planning to do that, babe. We like have a tent and stuff. We're still going to do that because you were coming to.
Oh yes. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Just that we didn't have like a theme
and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
So it was already that like, okay, we're already going to have a tent and there are already people coming from South Africa and like your whole family is actually together and they're going to come from South Africa and there's already going to we're still going to have to prepare food and stuff like that. So in my mind was already like, okay, if we're just doing the wedding, we're still going to do that, but on a bit of a larger scale. At that point, I didn't understand what larger scale meant.
Yes, both of us, because I remember specifically when we were like, okay, we're like you said, I'm gonna call my mom and we come back from
it was our friends the Mailula's
wedding. We come back, we're like, oh my god, we had so much fun. Oh my god, that was so beautiful. Everything was so beautiful, like what they did, and that was their traditional wedding, not we went to their white wedding after we had already said, okay, we're doing a wedding. So we're like, okay, this is not going to be Mklambiso anymore. We want to include our friends. We want to, make it big. Because the initial conversation was just going to be like, it's only family and that's that. It's only family. It's only us. We're just finalizing the process. Then when we changed, it was kind of like, oh, we want to make it like, we want to involve our friends. We want to have things like stepe. We want to have like music.
We literally, like, we just wanted to have a wedding, but it was the lack of understanding of, okay, what are the logistics behind planning for a wedding? I don't know why at that point the first thought wasn't like, okay, let's talk to a wedding planner. I don't know. I don't know why it was why we didn't think about.
I actually think that should have been the first thing we thought about. So basically, we were just excited from attending a wedding, and we didn't think thoroughly into actually what makes an event just some hlambiso and what now upgrades it to a wedding. First things first, we are asked what's the theme.
And mind you, a successful wedding.
So what is the theme? Dololo theme. So what happened was I was like, I already knew the colors we would be wearing. It was orange. I decided, I think in 2020, that I wanted to wear orange shweshwe. I wanted to use the orange shweshwe material, and that had already been told to my whole family, so they had already geared towards the orange, so I couldn't change my mind and be like, oh, now I want blue or anything like that. So orange had to be in the color. And I knew, like, I wanted something modern, elegant, but obviously it's still a traditional wedding. So the first thing was we looked into decor and increasing the number of the people that would come to the wedding.
So initially we were talking about 50 people.
Yeah.
And we're like, actually, no, it wasn't 50. It wasn't 50 people. We started, the first thing was like 30, but then we're like, there's no way we can do 30 because we have to count your family, we have to count my family too before we even start looking at guests. Then we're like, okay, let's do 50, but plan for 60 people. So for, I think it was about 2 months, we're planning around that. And we started looking for people that are doing decor. But because this was going to happen in Swaziland, my mom said she would help with looking for the people that are going to do the decor, because we couldn't exactly ship a person from South Africa to go all the way to Swaziland to go into decor, when the like people who are very good at decor in Swaziland. So after decor, now we have to start thinking about food, and at this point, we also have to start talking about budget. So luckily, you won't hear us talking about venue, because luckily we were going to do this at the farm in Swaziland. So we didn't pay anything for a venue. So that saved us a whole lot.
Yeah, saved. Yeah, sorry, you are right. It saved quite a lot, because from there was this lady that was posting costs and everything. Venues alone are like around 50,000.
No, even up to 100K.
Up to 100 to 200. Or obviously, it's like the list is crazy. But for what we had at the farm, if we were to book the type of setting,
we're going to easily spend like
100K.
100K, minimum 50.
Space,
we could have gone to 100K. So we saved on that. So now we're talking budget. So Dumi and I were like, okay, you know what? We don't want to spend more than 60,000 on this. And that was when we were talking about Mhlambiso, right?
Yeah.
And were naive and said it's fine, now we'll still be able to spend 60, because we were even counting before we even got quotations or anything. We were even counting, okay,
we were guessing that like food is gonna probably just be like 20,000.
No, not even 20,000, babe.
Yeah,
we said 5,000. Like literally, it was so naive.
I'm dying actually. Oh, okay. Yeah,
So,
like we were lowballing the figures in our head. We were also considering that meat and stuff, there was gonna be a cow already that's gonna get slaughtered.
Getting there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
don't make us look like nincompoops.
Yeah, I'm getting
but we
there.
were actually very, very, very naive.
We're very naive. So like, okay, 100 rand a head, and yeah, like like Lakaya in Corner, dad has already said, mom and dad have said they're going to give us a cow. They said that chickens as well. They can give us chickens because the chickens that are there at the farm or the farm they were going to be able to get chickens,
Yeah.
and
Not
then
hard bodies
like chickens,
like
Ram
that
Tutu, Pak, pak, the white
the
chickens.
ones that are grown for eating.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Ramtutu chickens. So like, okay, 100 ahead because like now we're thinking that's at least three options: beef, chicken, and then we can have you guys had said fish. Yeah, fish. And fish as well. So the caterer would have to do the fish. Then we think about okay, them are spicy. There's rices and stuff like that. But if we break it down and say 100 right ahead, considering what adding the extra 5K right on. Dango. After that, then we haven't even started thinking about the decor yet. They're not like, how much are outfits going to cost?
Yeah.
Then we look, how much did we say we're going to spend on outfits?
I don't remember. We didn't have a figure in our head, but I was like, I'm not trying to spend crazy amounts with the outfits. I just, I said I'll pay for the outfits, but then we had to find someone. We didn't even know who was gonna make the outfits. Even we didn't know who was gonna make the outfits. Then I was like, okay, let me ask. I was like, let me ask Caesar, and then once she gave me a person and I got a quote, we just went with it.
Yeah, but we had a
we're in
ballpark
the
figure, babe.
in the 60, we never even thought of outfits.
We did,
That's one
babe.
thing I know for a fact.
Babe, we did. We had even said like we can't
Didn't we
spend.
say like 10,000?
No, we said we can't spend more than 5K because at that time we hadn't spoken.
What kind of outfits were those?
Listen, we hadn't spoken about doing outfits for Titolomis. Remember, this was early.
Oh, it
This
was
was
just
early
us,
on. This was
yeah.
early on we had thought about step before we thought about having a bridal party,
Yeah.
and all of that. So like we said that we at most. Let's say I'm sons of 5K, but like we had said like we weren't going to spend more than 5K because this was back when we were still talking about 60K.
Yeah.
And like it was way before we even had like the 60K already available. And so like yeah, and then after that, then we're starting to think about Decor. Decor is the one that I don't think we really put a ballpark figure on, but we just like put some sort of budget. And then we're also talking about we had to have miscellaneous just in case, and I'm sure miscellaneous if it was like very small.
I know like the details are kind of
Like
like getting like messed up, but we were very naive with what we thought it would cost versus what it actually cost. So the first real cost was we got the decor price, 25K.
Yeah,
And then we're like, okay, we like the decor. The other
No, the
options,
decor was 29K. It wasn't 25K.
okay, 29K. Saniso's mom sent us pages of these people, and then I looked at all of them, and lo and behold, the one that was my favorite was the one that was the most expensive out of all of them, which was 29,000 just for decor. But they would be providing tables, draping, and we were doing for how many?
We had moved up from 50 people planning
To
for
100.
60 to 100 people,
Yes.
but planning for 150.
Yeah. So 29K, that was the first real cost. So that's already half of 60,000.
And then we had to find a caterer. Yeah. So the caterer one was pretty confusing because we waited until the caterer was towards the end of November, beginning of December, where were things. So the caterer ended up they charged us. I think it was, I don't remember correctly, but I think it was 7K plus it was 4K for them to come and cook. And it was 4K for them to come and cook, and then it was 3,000 rand for the things that had to be rented, which included the plates, cutlery, the stove, the gas that was filled, and all of that. So it was 7K for that, and then on top of that, we had to buy the food. So we ended up spending about I think it was about 6,000 on the food, and then on top of that,
there was a cow that was there at home, but if it
Yes,
wasn't
if
there,
it wasn't
a
there,
cow
it would
is
have.
around 12K,
It's around 5 to 8K.
babe, no. Not lobola cow, real cow. Oh, please.
Okay, I
No,
wouldn't know
a real
because I
cow.
wouldn't know
No, a real
because
cow is 15,000.
that's what I'm saying. I
Like,
wouldn't know because
yeah.
I'm not in the
Yeah,
cow.
so
I'm not in the cow
imagine like
business.
if now you don't have a farm like behind you, so you
Yeah.
have to also consider that you're gonna buy meat, which is beef or
Yeah.
pork or whatever, and that's gonna be 15K for a cow, and then the chickens were homegrown.
If they weren't homegrown, that would have been additional money onto the getting the food. The thing that actually
6,000.
annoyed me about the caterer is that she kept on avoiding giving us a budget for the food, because I would have loved for the
To have a
caterer
set to
the caterer to actually go and buy the food, but to go and buy the food, because she had sent a list of things with estimate prices. So then what I asked was, okay, if we're going to send you the money for the food, you need to keep the receipts so that we can actually then like look at the things that were actually used, that were actually bought. And if there's extra money, that money needs to be sent back and things like that. And I want there to be accountability with regards to that. And then after that, she was like, it's better if we just go and buy the food, which for
she
me was
basically ngalad, guys. She like
no, basically,
like,
which
yeah.
for me, which was annoying, because at that point I actually wished we would have actually had another option, because now, because of that, we had to then add extra work for us to do. Remember, because we weren't going to walk into a venue, this thing was happening at home. So that means preparations that had to actually happen at home. There was, I won't say construction, but like there was some minor construction that had to be done. There was road works that needed to be done. On top of that, inkomo eboyagetsi. So inkomo befandi hlatshwe, fanele kuheshwe. We need to cut the grass for like so that things are clean. It's a lot of things
And
that
it's a big
it's
space.
a big
When they
space.
say cut the grass, like Sanduso's, like it's a farm and a huge farm. If you watch the vlog, like I think the drone shot kind of shows an idea of how big it is, but it's big. So when he says like there had to be preparation, like even roadworks and stuff, there was a lot of things, and that's another thing. I was in Qatar. I couldn't even assist in any of this process, so all of these things were on my husband's shoulders, and it was nothing was cute in that whole thing. But with regards to catering, we're still at prices.
For the food, it ended up being the 7,000 rand, which was for
Plus
labor and
four.
thing, and then the 5,000 rand for, it was actually 6,000 rand for the food that we bought. That's 13,000 plus the 29,000 for the decor. So those were the two like single most costs that were like huge at once. But obviously, like we're saying earlier, it could easily shoot up to more because we had those things that were brought in from home, like the cows, chickens, etc., etc.
So without if it was the cow, because right now you look in 29 and around 15, let's say that's 50K. That's just food and decor. A cow that's healthy, that can feed a whole feast of 100 people or more, is like 12,000 to 15,000. So then chicken, pork, that's like an additional 10,000.
Yeah.
So easily just food and decor
Could be 60,
without
without a
a
venue.
venue is 60,000. Then now outfits needed to be done. Because now it's not only the two of us. We want story mates, dolomises.
Yeah, because now
What
now
are
it's
they
a
called?
wedding.
The bridal party. Yeah, now it's a wedding, and we are telling people last minute. We have to keep emphasizing the last minute on our side being an error. So I chose my sisters for that, and I did well because a lot of my friends couldn't make it. So I had to do my dress. My dress was the most expensive. It was 4,600. And then there was an additional dress that I did that came out the wrong color for some reason, because the picture I sent as reference was a different color, and that woman decided to make it that color.
Even
so
though
that
it
dress was
emphasized
practically useless in the process, because I wanted to change into that dress for later on when there was like chilling and a braai with everyone. So there was that, and then there was Sandiso's outfit, my sister's outfit, and the two groomsmen's outfits. Initially, I remember it was like 10,000. Then it went, because now the two groomsmen's outfits were like 900 each. So I think outfits were 12 to 13.
They were like 13 to 14K.
Yeah.
And then after the outfits, then we also, this is a part where like it started hitting that there's a lot we're not thinking about. Then to get toilets on top of that.
Yeah.
And for 150 people, you need to at least have 3 toilets. You need to at least have 3 toilets available for 150 people. So then there were toilets also that
and
needed
flashable ones these days.
with like a tap,
and
and like so then there were toilets. The toilets were, I think it was 1,500 each, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. So there were those toilets which were 1,500 each. And then, so that's what, 4.5 for just the toilets. For the two, they had to be rented for 2 days because they come in the evening before, and then they pick them up in the next day.
The next day after the
day after the wedding. So that was like 4.5 for those toilets. Why aren't we counting? Where are we now?
I'm sure we're at like, now when I say we're at 70 now, I think we're at 70.
Yeah, but anyway, this costs are still racking up. And also, Okumbole would say, this is like still, I want to keep emphasizing, this is without a venue. Oh, we're just talking about what we went through, but just keep in mind that if you're a person that wants to actually plan to have a wedding, and you need to also think about the venue. Also, this is also without the cost of a wedding planner. We don't even know how much a wedding planner's labor fee is.
But
we would definitely recommend it. We didn't not have a wedding planner because we're trying to be cheapskates or whatever. We just didn't think about it
until it was too late. Like, we were like, everything is on our hands now. Like, what would be the point of getting a wedding planner? Because like it was too late. So so consider also like the wedding planner fee.
Then in my case, then there was also the roadworks that needed to be done at home, which I paid for. I'll just add in the cost, but it's not like a cost that it's like you can compare it to maybe deposit for a venue or something. So there was a roadworks. They were, how much were they? It was 12. Was it 12? No, it was 9,000. It was meant to be 12,000. But because the person who does has a construction company is a family friend, it's just like, we can do the 9K. So it was 9K to then fix the road. Then after that, we also had to, then this is where miscellaneous then comes in. This is where miscellaneous then comes in as well. Because for us, then there were the boys that were cutting the grass as well that had to be paid. I don't know exactly how much that was, because my dad paid for part of it, and then I paid, I think it was 1,000 rand also, and my dad paid also more. But this is Swaziland and Mafamini, so it's like you must also consider that. But then there was also now petrol for going up and down to go and purchase purchase things, because every day our farm is like 30 minutes away from town. So every day when I was at home, I think I spent literally two or 3 days out of the 11 days I was at home the whole day. But every other day we would be in town because there were things that need to be bought there. Then on top of that, you must also consider, if it's a traditional wedding, you should also consider the gifts that need to be bought.
Yes.
You must consider the gifts. I'll give to me talk about the gifts, but I just want to list a few things. You must also remember the gifts that need to be bought, because that's also for the family member, because that's
the list
that's
you're given, yeah.
that's a cost. Then also you must remember if then if people are traveling, like for example, Tumi's family is traveling, there's also accommodation that has to be thought about as well. And yeah, then there was also makeup. There was also
there was
makeup and hair.
I was convinced for the longest time that I was gonna pay for my own. I was gonna do my own makeup and hair, but Sanis was like, he doesn't want me to be stressed on the day, so that's how he ended up paying for my makeup artist and my hair. How I gauged everything, I really think it was such a lot of money, because a large blanket, guys, is like easily 600, and we had a list of 37 people.
How many?
37 people.
Can I get an oh yes?
Not oh yes. Not oh yes, please. So there was that list of 37 people, and like you are signing. Okay, there was a variety with like the more expensive blankets, so more affordable ones, but all the blankets were large blankets and single ply mink, but they were very expensive. So easily, I think it was close to 40K if putting together, like putting just blankets and the gifts, and then there was now the bed that had to be bought. There was a kist that had to be bought. There were things that bedding that had to be bought. There were like cutlery and stuff like that. So that goes with umhlambi. So 40 to 45K.
What? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god, that's a lot of money.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes.
Why are you saying oh yes? Like
I'm saying, you know what I'm saying?
Like kind of a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
We are really nearing 200,000, and we didn't pay for a venue. Yeah. And we are nearing 200,000.
And then traveling costs as well, because
there was traveling. We needed to get 4 cars to Swaziland, like with people in it, and full tanks all around. 2,000.
And then on top
10,
of that, then because I want to capture the moment, you have to get a photographer. We were very lucky because we got a photographer who was a friend of one of my cousins. His name is Swift, and he literally only charged us 20. Only charged us 2K for taking the pictures for the entire day, which is actually pretty cheap when you then compare to photography costs for like a whole day for professional photography. Yeah. But then something that was difficult to find was a videographer. Like this took a long time because
we tried.
Or we tried to find someone from this side, from South Africa, and like we're considering traveling with them down to Swaziland. And I was even thinking they can come earlier, then maybe they'll vlog just so I can get maybe more worth than just the day. But that cost didn't make sense because that was going to cost like close to 30K because there was accommodation, food, then their labor fee per day, so that was out. Then I had to look for people in Swaziland. Most of the people that I was finding, I didn't really like the work that they did with regards to what we're trying to film and what we're trying to capture. Then there were 2 people, Lokwatcha Films and Senkoshle, this other guy, but I was referred to him by my cousin Figi, the drummer. He's a musician, so he referred me to somebody who they usually go around to record like artists and things like that. I liked his work too, but unfortunately he wasn't available on the day.
Booked, yeah.
He was booked. So then there was Lokwatcha Films, which they specifically do weddings and they shoot them very well. They have their own transport, they have their own equipment, they edit, they do practically everything, and then they have different packages. They cost it was 20K it was 18,500 for that. It was going to be 20K if then they came, then they did an additional day because there was some extra footage that I wanted to shoot. So it was going to be like 2K for the extra day. But it was like 18,000 Rand, 18,500 Rand for the videography. So that's on top
so
of...
like 18.5 for videography only, and then photography, we are lucky we got 2,000, so that was 20.
That was 20,500 Rand for the videography, for capturing the moment that you guys loved so much on YouTube.
Realistically speaking, for a wedding, just a traditional wedding, not even including a white wedding, because we didn't do a white wedding, and we had the most minimal, like with regards to the Dolomites, we only had 2 people, or usually have their whole friend group. So weddings, realistically, I would say, even if it's a traditional wedding, considering gifting and everything,
a holistic total cost. Also, there's also there's also more cost. Like, for example, Boo Boo, to go and help you guys at the border, there was petrol that had to be put into that as well. Like, there's also small costs. Also, we're very lucky. My Bongile did the Decor for when you guys came for free. But then if like there's
there
a
was
welcoming,
like the day before, welcoming.
Yes. Then there's also the people who are working at home, like the people who are doing the preparations. They get paid as well,
and
like
eating every day,
eating every day and feeding them every day. That's something that I actually wanted to mention. Would say the people who are working also on the preparations at the farm had to eat. That's a cost that comes into that. So we're talking about like holistic costs, because we also want you to be aware that if you're going to be planning a wedding, and there's also these things that we're talking about, like preparations at home and things like that, that you actually add everything. Instead, it's like when you go and buy a car and you only consider the insurance and
like most people will only consider
the insurance and the
not even
installment.
Insurance, just the installment. Like you'll be like, yes, I can realistically afford 3,000 per month. You go there, then you have to add 1,500 for insurance, because that's your first car. Then you have to add the 2,000, 1,500 to 2,000 you'll be spending for petrol, and
you have to start saving for excess for the insurance.
Excess for insurance. For there's like
wear and tear.
There's also like paying towards service fee. Like once you start really calculating, you need an excess of 8,000. I think even houses, so, like, you know how people make it houses, like it's that simple to buy a house. It's just a bond. No, it's not. There's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. So with weddings, they are actually very expensive. So we just wanted to talk about the cost and.
And realistically, what we experienced, and I also want to emphasize. I'm sorry for cutting. I also want to emphasize again, without a venue.
without
venue.
Having to get a car and thing, and we are already like counting close to 160 to 180. But if you add venues and stuff, that's 250. So weddings realistically would, and
also we're talking about 150 people. Some people have weddings about 300 people. About 500 people. So really, like,
there's a DJ as well.
Oh yes,
there's
also,
a brass band.
My God.
If you wanna do a brass band.
Oh, I forgot about the clearing. Because Caesar came to clear for the parking, which we ended up not using because it rained, so it wasn't going to be feasible to use that. How much did Caesar charge me? I think it was 2K.
Yeah,
there was 2K for clearing. Then Kanyo came to DJ. He literally did me a solid. He was literally like, "Nah, my bro, just give me petrol to come there and just get me and the guys like a 12 yes, babe." So the heat did me a solid, because a DJ costs at bare minimum 5K.
Yeah.
Oh, and he said I must pay for the sound as well, because I had to get the sound from someone else. So the sound was, I think it was 1,500. But like DJing, it's usually my 5K for the. And Kanyo played from Kanyo. He was late. He was late, but Kanyo came from the beginning of the wedding, which started at 12, and he left at around 2 or 3 or 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It was around 2 or 3 a.m. So that definitely will not cost you 5,000 rand.
No, it won't. It'll
It will
cost you a
cost
whole lot
you
of money.
like
I
a
remember
lot.
a colleague of mine was saying they were at a wedding and the DJ wanted to leave and people didn't want to leave. So they had to put money together to give the DJ for the last hour and everything like that. Because it's a lot of money. Then if you want to have an open bar or buy people drinks, that's a lot of money. Miscellaneous easily can be over 25,000.
Very
Over
easily.
20 to 30,000 because there's a lot of things that are unplanned that will happen.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna have just the traditional wedding that doesn't have doves and like live performances, you're already looking at 250,000. When you look at the cost separated, it's like it's not bad. Now we're
When
just
you put all of them
calculating
together.
and when you just keep on putting in the prices and we're remembering things as we go, but all of those things contributed to making that one day making that one day what it was. But the reality of it is that like weddings are expensive, and we, even though we decided very late that we wanted a full-on wedding, we were fortunate that we could afford a full-on wedding without taking
having to take any credit.
loan, any credit, anything. And also it was, most of the cost was on us except for the gifting, but everything else on us
and the things that
and the king of this house.
and the things
But-
that also my parents like contributed, and other people also contributed, because also towards the wedding there were family friends that came and contributed mealie meal, rice,
Yeah,
a lot of things that seem small at the time, but now when you're talking about like the costs and doing everything
That's a
holistically,
lot,
it's huge, guys. And also the manpower, like something that doesn't get spoken about a lot, especially with preparations for any mcimbi, like traditional things. The manpower, the people who are actually there to help you do that work, like I know that like it's if that's not there, all of these fancy things they're talking about decor, but what they don't matter,
because you need the manpower to the people putting things together, people like actually moving around, like the pots, the like the
there's a lot, guys. There's a lot of
paid,
work.
but I would imagine like if there was not internal help within the family to like slaughter the cow, that was gonna be so much more expensive. Because now the catering people would have had to do it. They could have charged their own charge. So now you actually, that's a lot of money. Like that's 4 trips. That's 4 trips overseas.
That's literally deposit for a house.
Yeah.
Like, so I think a question that you should really ask yourself, because also, guys, even after doing all of this, we still have to go to Home Affairs and like still go and get a date and go and do all of that. On top of having this, obviously, that's because we are doing we're getting an ANC, and we didn't do the contract before the wedding day.
Everything would have been done by the day.
on that day, but like you really need to consider all of these things, because like in Kumbole, I would say, umshado is not the marriage. Like the wedding day is not the marriage. So like for me personally, and I'm not an advice giver or whatever, but for me personally, I don't believe there's any worth in having a huge memory, like I'll say in brackets, a huge memorable, what's smetlets or whatever ceremony when you can't afford it, because after logomshado, because we're getting to gifts for right now, after logomshado is done, you are going to be left actually dealing with the costs of that thing, of if you took a loan, the cost of that, and you're still going to have to live. And I know a lot of people like say, okay, people are going to give us gifts. So like, 'cause some people aren't living together before they get married. So now they're going to move in together or going to move to a house or something.
No one is buying your couch.
And there's no
Thing I'll
furniture.
tell you for a fact is no one's gonna buy you a couch. No one's gonna buy you a fridge. No one's gonna buy you a big TV. No one's gonna buy you a TV stand. You're gonna get appliances. Then you're gonna get a bunch of plates and teaspoons and whatever. And do a wedding registry. We struggled with a wedding registry because we already lived together and we had everything. We should have said cash gifts are welcome, but because we made, I don't know, that thing was not even a wedding registry.
Also for us, babe, like, you must also remember all the time. This is like, it's even when we're looking, like, when it's time, if people ask us for gifts for birthdays, whatever, it's like we also like, it's like we try to put ourselves in, which is wrong, because we try to put ourselves in people's shoes, which is wrong because we don't know people's shoes. But we should actually just say, this is what we want.
Because like, what we did was we like kind of looked at, okay, maybe bedding, because I remember the Mr. Price registry was like mostly bedding and then like solid kind of crockery, because we have like plates and they're full in there. And I was already annoyed. I was already like frustrated, like, where are we even gonna put these things, because we still live where we live and we have everything. But we tried to make it like realistic so that people could afford it. Yeah, that was a bust anyway.
Yeah, and then at the end of it all, after all of that, not even one gift from that registry. Anyway, I'm not complaining or anything, but I'm just saying, like,
I think cash gifts are like a good idea for actually even covering like both miscellaneous. Unless you're from like a very wealthy family, you are not even gonna get a lot from cash gifts, but it does help, because at least you can really buy what you want to buy with the cash gifts, and it can help out. But the gifts, even if you invited 300 people, not 300 people are going to contribute towards that. So you need to be sure that if you are doing the wedding, you're doing it for the memories, and you're doing it for yourselves, and you can afford
what... You can afford to pay whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is that...
To.
Yeah, the cost comes to. And... guys, no loan. If you are like, yes, now I have to get a loan for this, cut it. It's not necessary.
There's also ways you can wait to have like there's more than one way to kill a cat. Yeah. You can wait and save and to have that wedding, or you can like dumb it, or you can dumb it down and not have a huge, if like it's important for you to have a ceremony, you can dumb it down and not have a huge ceremony. Or you can go and sign at Home Affairs and then go and do an intimate lunch or something. Like, because at the end of the day, that, yes, the memory is nice. It's nice to it's actually very nice to be able to do the wedding. But you know what's even more nicer? Knowing that after the wedding has passed, that day has passed, and we can enjoy the memories without the memories being a reminder of loans that still have to be paid back, or something, or something
financial
that's financial strain.
Yeah.
And
Dango. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, you've been taught. Yeah, things are not compulsory.
Yeah.
Like I always say, things that are not compulsory. Birthday parties, not compulsory. When I do my birthday parties, there's usually budget. When we do lunches or thing, there's a budget for it. Those things are not compulsory. They are nice to haves. Even weddings are nice to have. We were blessed enough to be able to do that, but it was a nice to have that we could decide to have. But it's not compulsory. It was not compulsory in 2018. It was not compulsory in 2019, 2020.
I'm glad it happened the way it happened, because first and foremost, the place which we were in at the time when this was happening is an absolutely different place with regards to our careers and everything like that. And at that point in time, there was never ever going to be a chat of we're going to turn Mhlambiso into being a wedding.
It was just
Because
gonna be like
yes,
umhlambiso,
because
and that's that.
the
Yeah,
chat at that time was we're going to have the Mhlambiso, and in
sign.
20 in what's the year now, 2022, 2023, in 2024, which would be our 10-year anniversary, then we would have saved up enough to then actually have a white wedding. That's what the chat was at the time. So I'm very glad, I'm very happy that it happened how it happened, because now we're blessed enough to be able to have this.
Anyway, besides that, it was a beautiful celebration. We just wanted to speak about the realities, because I'm speaking to like young people here, people younger than me, people like who just started in their careers, and they, like, you see when people are like very excited about an idea of something, and I get that weddings are beautiful. I watched that wedding and I choke up. It's beautiful. I'm glad I was like 18,000 for the videographer, but now that I get to watch back, and that's a memory we'll have for a lifetime. Unless YouTube crashes its systems, and okay, never mind. Let me not.
Intrusive
That's
thoughts.
my intrusive
Hello.
thoughts, guys. I saw such bad intrusive. Okay. Anyway, that's a memory we will forever have, forever cherish, and the money is just something that will be like, we won't even feel, we don't even feel
If you want a money affirmation, go back and watch. Was it episode 2 or was it episode 1 of our podcast?
I think episode
where
2
we literally were just like, one thing about money, guys, money is available, it's out there once, and money will always come. It's there, it's in abundance. Just don't put so you need to work, but don't put so much value on
yeah.
money. There's more important things in life than money. Anyway, back to the wedding.
No, I was saying, like, it's just when you're making the decision, like, just don't put pressure on yourself in terms of a timeline. Better save and be prepared than now be shocked and then now everything is horrible. Because also, the reason why I wanted us to put actually prices to everything, and also this is in Swaziland, South Africa, Johannesburg might even be way more different. You are looking at 500,000, and that's for like something that I feel like wasn't the most, not the most outrageous celebration. Just consider the fact, like, just look and do your research properly before even sending out invites, before even saying
before getting excited.
Before getting excited. Like, we've put out a video, we've done our part to help society out, to say this is actually how much things cost, because people never talk about money, and it's frustrating because people now go in and say, then next thing you realize, actually the only thing I can afford is a dress, but then I can't afford food, I can't afford everything that comes with an actual wedding. But now you've invited people to a wedding, and then you are stressed because, okay, now I can't have a shabby thing. You want the bells and whistles, and you go to a bank, you commit yourself to a 5-year, 12-year loan
for something that's gonna be
like, you know, just one day. So just think about it, consider all this costs, and if you feel like yes, then do it. It's worth it. And also, you'll be tired, but it's worth it.
And also, besides the financial implications of having a wedding, you know, when thinking about is it worth it to actually go ahead and do it, obviously finances is one of the biggest things, but you should also consider the stress that it comes with. Also consider the tiredness that comes, especially if you don't have a wedding planner like we did, and also thinking about the strain it's going to take and the toll it's going to take on certain relationships that you have within your family, because it's like that with any mcimbi.
Start realizing, and there's gonna be like frustrations throughout the way.
There's a lot of frustrations, and also it's also there's a lot of people who are involved with especially
When
with
it comes to
family
traditional
and
things,
traditional
family, yeah.
things. There's a lot of things that are involved. There's a lot of things that you also need to, like, it's not about you. The purpose of having the ceremony is about you and your wife to be, but like it's also not about you majority of the time, especially weddings. Weddings are actually not about you most of the time. Weddings are about the family and things like that, but you also just get to be a part of that. And one thing we brushed on that we didn't actually talk a lot about was like on the day, the people that are there for you and your family. And they are there, and your family members are there to celebrate your union and witness your union. So everybody who's there is going, like Duma was saying, is going to expect you to be available
piece
for
of
them,
you,
expect a
yeah.
piece of you. But now to dive deeper into what a piece of you means. So when the entire wedding is going on, especially if we didn't have a planner, we had a matron who, not a matron, we had somebody that was there to make sure that everything was happening gahle. We also had an MC and stuff like that. But as everything is happening, if there's no planner, people are going to ask you about stuff. It happened. It was happening already, and I expected it anyway. People were asking me about some things. It wasn't like a train smash, like caterers or whatever asking me stuff. That was handled, but it was like small things like it was a small thing such as, what song are you walking in with? I had forgotten that. Dumi had forgotten that as well.
I was just
Which
like,
song? Which song is the only song we knew was a stepper song because I'd practiced it before.
yeah.
Like one of the songs.
You know, the one thing I feel like we spent preparing for was the step. I was so excited, and some things that you are so excited for might not even happen on the day, like. Things won't happen the way you even envision them sometimes based on, we are timely people. If you watch the wedding, there are a lot of empty seats, but the wedding started at the time that said at 12 the wedding is gonna
Zandile
start.
said on Zandile's vlog when they were in Swaziland for them, like, one thing about this wedding, it started on time.
Like we are so strict about time. My husband is more strict about time, even like above me, because I don't know, it's just a thing we are strict about. So he had a whole itinerary sent, and he there was a time the makeup artist needed to be there, but you miscommunicated that because everyone let me sleep until 8, because on the itinerary you gave everybody, you said, do we must sleep till this time, but then the makeup artist came in first. But that was not a train smash, it was just like a
No, that was
30-minute
that was the makeup artist that said that. I said to her that she must arrive until, I said, because she wanted to arrive at 7:30. I said that's too early.
Yeah,
I
and
said
she was
to her,
and the reason why she did that was because she had another client on top of me, but the time was communicated correctly and everything was done on the time. There was the only delay that was there was we wanted to now change to take all pictures at 11 because we are
'Cause of the
anticipating
weather.
a storm, but luckily it didn't happen. Everything started at 12, guys. We did everything on time. We decided to stick to everything. But what I was actually speaking to was the fact that things won't happen exactly the way you envision them. As long as you guys are happy and most of the things go well. Now I almost was like, I'm like over the whole wedding if we don't do the step that we are practicing for, because the electricity tripped at the time we were supposed to leave and go for pictures, but there was a rush for pictures because there was a storm that was supposed to come. And I was just like, nope, please fix the electricity.
Yeah, so like,
Please fix the electricity. Luckily, it's not South Africa where it's like load
yeah, that's
shedding.
actually a
It
nice
was just
thing.
a power trip.
There was no
yeah.
load shedding. So like, back to what I was saying about people expecting a piece of you, like you even forget the small things like that. Even with for our wedding, the service providers were late. The service providers that were on time, the Decor people, because they arrived the day before to start setting up. Toilet people were on time. Caterers also came the day before to start setting up stuff, but they were also just on time. Photographer, very late. DJ, very late. Videographer, very early. I loved that. Very early. But now I was frustrated because like the way that duties were like actually separated, but Ankuku handling the caterer and the decor people, then the other service providers, because I was the one that was like doing that, they were talking to me. So I was very, I don't know if you saw like I was actually,
So when you were dealing with the late people,
yes, I
yeah,
don't know if you saw, like I was actually
you were
like
rushing all
I was
around,
I was all over
and
the
then
place at
at
the
some
beginning.
moment you have to like pause, like now's the wedding.
Exactly. And just be like,
Just
you
like,
know what?
now it's the wedding.
And you have to sit there and just be in the moment. And then when like all is said and done, because even when we're going to take pictures, a lot of people wanted to show me that they were there and like, oh, hey, Dawn, hi, Sundays, whatever. I'm like, okay, yes, I'll come back. I'll come back. Like, I just need to go and take the pictures. And like, even like family members and the elders and people who were there and like, I'm like, okay, I'll come
to be
back.
acknowledged that
Yeah.
they actually came to support you.
Yes.
And you need to acknowledge that everybody came to support you. Then
To a point afterwards, we actually had to go and hide.
There was a point where I hadn't eaten. Everything was blurry and I just cried, child. I was just like, and then like Tempi was handing me my food, said like, please go eat. I'm like, I didn't even want to eat. But it was just it was a peak moment. It happened to me on our lobola as well. It was a peak moment of like all my emotions just like hitting me at once. Because I do this thing, even when I'm anxious, even anxiety aside, I don't like using anxiety because I have an actual problem with anxiety. But emotion wise, if I'm hyper stressed about something, or if I'm over overstimulated or something, like I'll be fine. I'm a good masker. I'll mask, and then they will get to a point, one thing will take me and the waterworks. I was crying. I needed that cry though. I cried. Saniso sister helped me, everything. And I was just like, I can't face people. I'm tired. Like, I am tired of taking pictures. I remember like some people even went to fetch me from the back because I hadn't taken pictures with some people. So there are even pictures, like some people didn't get pictures with me in my main dress, because after that I was like, I want to change and I want my husband. We closed the room, we sat down and we ate. Halfway through our food, guys, if you're not there, there's something that needs to happen. No, but
So, yeah.
that's kind of how weddings go. You are needed the whole time and everything. So yeah, weighing if it's worth it or not. Also consider the like kind of the busyness. Like the moments are there, and make time for them and force for them, like how I forced for my step, because that was such a fun moment. But I forgot it actually at the end. I think I was like so excited about it, and then there was a point everybody was going the other way and I was going the other way. But we had promised ourselves that we will make time for fun, and at a certain point people are gonna dance, have fun, have conversations, and that happened. And I'm
Like-
glad that kind of happened.
Like it's honestly, it's even the like the preparations before, it was, it was at that time at home, there were so many different people in our home, and like it was just like, what the hell is going on? There were like so many different people, and like I won't say we were cooking because I wasn't cooking. My sisters were cooking, and like Bo, my cook, and everybody else was cooking every day for people and stuff. It was just so busy. I was super tired. I think on the day of the wedding, I was just high of the day. Like I was just high of the excitement and stuff. But my body was so tired. And like, it was just like, there was a point in time when I was running around, it just felt like everything is just flashing in front of me, and like my wife said, like there's a moment where you're just like, you know what? It's the day. It's the day that you've been anxious and like nervous about for so long. Be in it. And as soon as I did that, I was just able to be in it, and it just felt so worth it. It just felt, it was so beautiful. I was actually in awe throughout how everything was happening, from everything actually happening on time to one person I really, really, really appreciate is Debo, because it wasn't a plan for Debo to be an MC. It just happened whilst we were driving to Joburg to come and pick up the cameras for him to end up
Because
being.
we forgot
Because
the cameras were left in
the
Johannesburg.
cameras are left in Johannesburg, and we had even forgotten that there has to be a program. A program was actually decided literally 2 or 3 days before the wedding. Like, if I hadn't forgotten these cameras, I wouldn't have thought about a program. I probably wouldn't even had an MC.
Yeah.
And like,
So also, what's nice is to have to, as soon as you start, refer to, like, ask your other married friends. That's one thing I would
other
say.
friends who have had weddings.
Yeah, other friends that have had weddings. Obviously not married friends that didn't have weddings. Ask other people that have had weddings. I feel like if this was our first step, we would have actually, everything was going to be done like much faster.
Smoother.
We would have, like, everything would have been much smoother than it was. But yes, everything worked out at the end. But we have so many friends that actually had weddings we could have asked, but we didn't think of that until the last moments. But our like Debo helping you, like Mzandile helping
Mzandile
you, like
was
Caesar helping me
Mzandile
with
and I were
getting
doing a countdown.
yeah.
Ask for help, actually. Like it actually ask for help. Because it really it like I'm very like, if you're watching this, like all the friends that helped us, like I actually like appreciate it, because I actually didn't ask for help until I realized, oh shit, I need to actually ask for help. My friends actually kept on asking, even Terrence. Like, even Terrence was like asking me stuff about, like, oh, what about this? What about that?
Yeah, and
It helped.
really
It helped so much, because
yeah.
I didn't think about toilets until Mzwandile asked me about toilets.
Yeah, like it'd be the little things. Because imagine if 100 people showed up and there were no toilets they could use. But yeah,
It was. I think for us it was. It like, for me, when I look back at that, it's just another testimonial also of how good is, how good God is. Because, like, I remember there was so many frustrations during the time, even like, we can even take it back to when things were not happening, to when things, like, when we ended up not being able to have them Mhlambi. So now, like, it was just like, now it's like we don't want to do it and stuff. And yeah, like, God is good, because
everything happened the way it was
supposed to,
and
it was
yeah,
perfect.
guys, please. And also, you guys frustrating your families and getting in love with people that are like miles and miles and miles
Get
away,
close to the mic.
kilometers and kilometers away. Like my parents and like my aunts were like to my sisters, hey, please marry down the street. Because also that whole stress of now getting family passports and my mom was actually one person that I was such a great, I don't know how to explain, but she did everything in terms of like my family side of things, which is so wonderful. Like, in terms of like getting like like communicating with everyone, actually making sure that people actually have passports, and like the count of the people that are coming, and obviously with the gifting, it was, everything ended up working together. But our parents, the support that we had actually helped quite a bit. So support is also something that's very necessary, especially when you're doing a big thing in between work as well, because you can't be like, okay, I'm gonna take leave for this long to just plan. It's like, what? No, you just have to do it in between. And God made it possible.
Yeah,
so.
God, like, honestly, God really did make it possible, because, like, we're able to do everything we needed to do. Like, we're able to have time to do those things. It wasn't a struggle to find time to have to go and do the things that we need to do. We went away from work when we had to do things, like, it was just, like I'm saying, God, guys, God is good. Like, God is really good. So I just want to answer the question, was it worth it? Totally worth it. But just want to do it quick, like just a checklist for you to be able to answer. Is it worth it for us to actually have a traditional wedding or a white wedding, or
a big
very first things first, what can we afford? And then before you answer that, go and do research. You can go call decor companies, call videographers, ask your friends who've had a wedding before. Then number 2, after what can we afford, is Ghana, what else did we say?
What can we afford? It's that. What can we afford? And then within the budget, is it possible? So
yes,
there's what we can afford, and within the budget, is it possible?
And then,
if it's not possible, can we wait?
Exactly.
Wait. What are our alternatives? Waiting.
Yes.
Doing a smaller thing. Changing the plan. And also, am I being and also changing the plan is part of the third one, where you now reevaluate your options.
Like what can we actually do based on the facts, not the research, the facts.
Please, facts
based on the facts. And then there, once you've decided, and then the fourth one is, will we be able to handle the stress that comes with all of this? Because that's a very important question. Because even between like the planning and stuff, like there were times where you were saying, I'm the one that has to, that wants to do it. Like there's just a lot of stress will manifest itself in a lot of different ways. So are you prepared for that stress? And if you're able to get through that checklist and you're like, okay, let's go for it. And I promise you, it's going to be the best memory that you can make for the beginning of the rest of your life with your partner. With that said, can I get
in? Oh, yes.
Yes.
What did you press? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. What?
Don't talk while it's going on. Can I get an oh, yes? Oh, yes.
It's not talk while it's going on.
But
yeah.
I think that brings us to the end of our conversation
Never
today.
said, never plugged you.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you're watching us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting platform, if kukhona lapho it says follow or whatever that button is, or subscribe,
become part of our community.
Dango.
Please do the right thing.
Yes, share us if this conversation was meaningful to you. If there's other people you think would love to hear this, share it. If you love our advice, share it. If you're watching us on YouTube and you're subscribed, thank you so much for being a housemate. Share us with all of your friends. And if the subscribe button is red, press it now, especially if you're this far in the video. Like, this is literally like, if this video is an hour, this is like an hour or something into the video. If you're here and the subscribe button is red, subscribe, help us grow, and share, and click the notification bell so you don't miss notification every time we post. Yebo.
It's a wrap.
Oh, actually,
it's a wrap.
To more chats, to more living. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode or the next vlog, wherever you want just to listen to us. Dango!